None of them were old men, but I thought of them that way as I would sit there in their kitchen and hang on every word they'd say. They were all well past their prime, but they'd been giants in their day. And now there they were at home upon the farm. The three of them were brothers. The farmer was Jerome. James had joined the Rifles, and Tim learned the Latin Mass in Rome. But theology and the military only made them long for home, so they'd come back to their cottage on the farm. I never saw them angry, and I never heard them swear, but I knew they were three tough old dogs, so I take a little care to talk to them respectfully when asking if they'd share memories of their old days on the farm. Their mother was still living. She looked 90 years or more, and she would sit there by the fire with her back turned to the door. She'd rarely say a single word. She'd heard all their tales before, across the years since they were young boys on the farm. Jerome, as he was oldest, had stayed to plough and work the fields. And when God had called on Timothy, he had bowed and he had kneeled. James had marched through farming soil on Belgian battlefields, but they'd been drawn back home to work upon the farm. I never saw them angry, and I never heard them swear, but I knew they were three tough old dogs, so I take a little care to talk to them respectfully when asking if they'd share memories of their old days on the farm. Tim would joke about his sporting days with Hurley and with ball. James was fond of army tales, he had heard the bugle call. Jerome was the quiet man, but I liked him best of all, and he told me of one night upon the farm. They'd been young men in those somber times when their homeland had been torn, all asunder all those years ago, long before I was born, which had left their generation embittered and forlorn, and a black cloud had settled on the farm. And I never saw them angry, and I never heard them swear, and I knew they were three tough old dogs, so I take a little care to talk to them respectfully when asking if they'd share memories of their old days on the farm. They had been drawn into the struggle to free their nation from the crown, constructing roadblocks in the country, conducting night raids in the town. But the parts they'd played brought fiery retribution crashing down, and trouble drove up to their cottage on the farm. There had been one other brother, a little younger than the rest. Daniel was the darling boy that their mother had loved the best, but he'd been taken from that kitchen when informers had confessed, and they had found him by the stream down on the farm. Tonight his 20 years are growing, and only barely 17. I learned what those three brothers and their mother all had seen on their 40 tear-stained acres with their 40 shades of green, long ago in their home on the farm. And each night before the rosary, they'd sing a dozen songs at least, and I would join in with the farmer, the soldier, and the priest. They'd ask me, go on soldier, have one too, for the souls of the deceased. I'd sing, oh Danny boy, in their cottage on the farm. And I never saw them angry, and I never heard them swear, but I knew they were three tough old dogs, so I take a little care to sing for those three brothers and their mothers sitting there, oh Danny boy, in their cottage on the farm. No, I never saw them angry, and I never heard them swear, but I knew they were three tough old dogs, so I take a little care to sing for those three brothers and their mothers sitting there, oh Danny boy, in their cottage on the farm. Oh Danny boy, in their cottage on the farm.